You know those beautifully designed posters you see in pretty much every office lobby? The ones with the big, inspiring words like integrity, innovation, or teamwork. They look great, but what do they actually mean? Well, today we're going to dive into exactly that. How to turn those vague corporate values from just words on a wall into a real, living, breathing workplace reality.
I mean, take a classic like this one, the foster innovation. It sounds amazing, right? But if you're a brand new employee, what does that actually tell you to do on a Tuesday afternoon? Are you supposed to be challenging your boss? Should you be spending time on some wild experimental projects? Without any clarity, it's just a nice sounding phrase that doesn't really guide anyone's behavior.
And this gets to the heart of the problem, what we call values as words on a wall. This is where what a company says its culture is and what it's actually like to work there start to drift apart. And that gap can create a whole lot of confusion. This slide just frames it perfectly. On one side, you've got those aspirational values. They're nice words, they're feel-good phrases, but they're completely open to interpretation. They're kind of fuzzy. On the other side, you have a codified culture. This is all about clear behaviors, specific actions, and a real shared understanding. The goal, of course, is to move from the left column to the right. So, why do so many companies get stuck on the fuzzy side of things? It turns out the real problem is often not what we think it is. And here is the core insight, the real takeaway. The issue usually isn't that your team is unskilled or that they don't want to do the right thing. The problem is that they're guessing. When values are vague, people are basically forced to try and read their manager's mind to figure out how we do things around here. And that is just a recipe for inconsistency and a ton of frustration. Okay, so if the problem is a lack of clarity, well, the solution is to create it. This is where this whole concept of a codified culture comes into play. So what is it? Codifying your culture simply means you stop talking in abstracts and you start describing concrete actions. It's about defining in plain English how your team actually behaves, what they do, and how they make choices day in and day out. This is how you build a culture that people can actually live, not just read about. Now, I know this might sound a little complicated, but it's really not. There's actually a very straightforward three-part formula you can use to codify any value in your organization. And here it is. It's as simple as 1, 2, 3. First, you just state the value, the word or the phrase. Second, you define what it means in your world in simple terms. And third, you give concrete examples of what it looks like in action. Let's see how this works with a real example. We're going to use the value ownership. It's another one of those great words that can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. So let's run it through our three-part formula and see if we can make it crystal clear. All right, so steps 1 and 2. The value is ownership. And the definition? Notice how specific this is. It's not just take responsibility. No, it's about actively choosing what's best for the client and the team, even when it's not the easiest choice for you personally. I mean, that definition alone provides such a powerful filter for making decisions. And here's step 3, the examples. This is where it all becomes real. Someone who lives the value of ownership doesn't just wait for a problem to get worse. They speak up early. They don't hide their mistakes, they own them, and they communicate quickly about how they're going to fix them. See, these aren't abstract ideas anymore. They are observable, everyday behaviors. Now, a quick but really critical guideline here. Focus on just 3 to 7 core values. Why? Because these have to be the non-negotiables. These are the values you are truly willing to hire for, to reward for, and yeah, even to fire for. That's how you know they're real. So you've gone through the whole process. You've picked your core values, you've defined them, and you've listed out examples. How do you know if you actually succeeded? Well, the answer is this final check. We call it the Monday morning test. This is it. This is the ultimate test of clarity. And forget about yourself or your leadership team. You're all biased. You already know the answers. Imagine a brand new person joining your company. Could they read your codified values and know exactly how they're expected to behave when they show up for their first day of work? If the answer is yes, you've totally nailed it. So we'll end with this thought. Your company culture isn't what you say it is. It's what you consistently do. It's defined by who you bring onto the team, who gets promoted, and who is let go. And if those critical decisions aren't guided by clear, actionable principles, well, then your values are still just words on a wall. So the real question is, are you ready to codify them?